Welcome back to the Nordic Championship. It's time for our second series of today between Nyyrikki White and the final tribe. Sweden's lost hope in this semi-final as we had two teams coming in and one team has already been defeated.
Yeah, losing 2-0 versus Ventus Esports was Östersund's FK, so the final tribe, the last chance of a Swedish hope. But the Finnish team in the finals, that would be a big upset going into this tournament. Finland has not been impressing us in the Nordic region so far, but this time around they actually got two good teams coming in, both Nyyrikki and Placeholder, and now Nyyrikki is playing here in today's game.
Absolutely. We got to say the Placeholder were really close on making it to the semi-final. In the end, only one of them could make it, and this was Nyyrikki White. And they've been looking strong, especially looking at the mid lane Jameru that we heard so much about.
Yeah, he's been the big really the big playmaker for the team so far. Been doing really well on a lot of champion picks. Last time they were facing the final tribe, I believe he got a 1 versus 2 double kill on Denzel and Raxi, the mid jungle duo for the final tribe. So Yamaru really going confident into this series, and so is the entirety of his team. I spoke a bit to the top laner Stenbosse before the game, and he just said that he was really confident in their ability to win the game because they beat them last time, and he also said that I'm definitely the better top laner.
All right, so he thinks he's definitely the better top lane between him and Wacer. Wacer, on the other hand, has looked fairly strong in this tournament, especially playing Jace. Both of these players like to go with that top laner, and both of them have shown how to play it, getting a lot of priority, getting a lot of turrets down.
Yeah, he's been a big pick in the first series, and I don't expect that to change going in here. Jay's really a potential first pick, as we are going to jump into the draft in just a couple of minutes. And yeah, it's going to be a big pick. Also, Waysor has been busting out a lot of really unorthodox picks in the tournament so far as well, playing both Ilaoi and Kled on stream so far. So really expecting Waysor to go for something special here, unless he can get that Jace.
Yeah, absolutely. And the first ban versus Canapeel is the Ivern. And Ivern also one of those jungle champions that for a time period was one of the strongest junglers in the game, then sort of fell off, and now sort of coming back for the same reasons we have seen him earlier, having that counter jungling ability and being able to keep your marksman very safe.
Yeah, and really a signature champion for Canapel. And if you're thinking that the first two bans are quite weird right now, they are. And it's because these teams are a bit weird. Canapel's been playing a lot of Ivern in the tournament, and Denzel has been playing a lot of Malzahar and Cillian. Those has been the two big picks for him, so I would not be too surprised if Nyyrikki rounds out this round of bans with a Cillian ban, really going to be forcing Denzel onto something that he's less confident on.
Absolutely. I think they could probably hold on with the Cillian ban to the second rotation of bans. Don't necessarily need to ban it immediately, as I think the final tribe wanted to prioritize other champions than that one. But they're gonna have to go with that pick at some point, I think, for Denzel to be on a comfortable mid laner. Now, Kartus was still left open, and that's the first pick for the final tribe.
That is a bit scary, and that's also reason that you're banning both Ivern and Olaf. These champions are really good into the Karthus because they both can invade early, and they can both build redemption and even lock it on the Ivern to get a lot of safety away from the Karthus ulti. So these bans really kind of gave away that they wanted to go for the Karthus, and it was still left open. Really interesting to see what Canapil is going to go for here, because there are still some strong early game junglers open, like the Lee Sin, which has been banned out in all of the first series today, and it's a really strong power pick in the jungle.
Yeah, absolutely. Would not be surprised at all to see Canapil, as he can play very aggressive in the jungle, and he could go for the champion like Lee Sin, still being left open with Sejuani, Ban, Olaf, and Ivan. That is definitely a priority pick. Also for AZ Tor, going with the Ezreal and the Thresh combination, not too surprising either.
Yeah, Morgana has been the big sort of counter pick into Thresh, having a good matchup so far in this tournament and being able to deny a lot of those engages. But that is probably going to be a Galio in towards the bottom side. Can, of course, still go mid lane, but is the strongest in the support position. And I actually think it would be quite good for Denzel as well. He seems like a player that could pilot the Galio, but I'm just going to say that it's probably going to Nightmares so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Like standard, you would have definitely see Galio in the support position, but for this team with Denzel, actually, I agree with you. You can definitely see that in the mid lane. Now, the Urgot also being a very prioritized champion. We have seen him been played to a very high effect in a lot of teams. Today will be the hands piloted by Stenbosse, the Swedish player on the Finnish team.
Yeah, definitely a champion that can be blind picked into the top lane as well. Don't really have any terrible matchups. Interested to see if they're going to be where they're going to be aiming their bans, and it's going to be towards the mid lane so far with the Cylin, and I think that is a great choice. We also mentioned it. It's really a Denzel special.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the response here with the SWE, not wanting Jamiru to go with one of those champions that can really set up for the rest of the team, especially with all of the pick power you have, having a Thresh on your team, having an Urgot on your team as well. So a good choice right here. We see no more bans towards the mid lane because these are the two bans you need to worry about playing versus the mid lane of the final tribe. And now one more final ban left for the final tribe. Sion was the last ban for Nyyrikki White. And now left open, you see a lot of priority towards the mid lane yet again with the Syndra ban versus Jamiru, the champion. I think that he was able to pick up the double kill versus 1 versus 2 versus Denzel and Raxi. Denzel was playing LeBlanc, I think, in that game.
Yeah.
Turned out to not be his strongest champion.
Yeah, did not work out too well. And with the Cylin ban being committed, I don't dislike the idea of having this Galio go towards the mid lane. Just clear the waves and then be able to provide a lot of utility to the side lanes with the ulti. Of course, it's not the strongest mid laner, but can still be played there. Another pick that stands out to me here for the final tribe is Sylas, who Wacer's been doing a really good job of so far. Kind of a good matchup into the Urgot. You won't really be able to kill him, but he won't really be able to kill you. And then you can steal his ultimate, which is really impactful. You've also got the two-shot barrage from the Ezreal, which is also a good steal. So Sylas for Wacer could be an interesting pick. And that's another flex pick coming in. Can go top lane into the Urgot and have quite a good matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of magic damage coming out of the final tribe right now with Karthus, Galio, Kai'Sa, and Victor. So this is a heavy magic damage team for now. On the other side, we see the Corki pick for Jamiru, a champion that was played in the previous series today in the hands of... I'm sorry, the
Priest Cornet.
Priest Cornet, thank you very much for Priest Cornet to play that one and was able to win with it as well. And this is another special champion for Wacer, the Kled towards the top lane.
Would like the Lee Sin pick here for Canapil. It's just such a strong champion overall and can really duel and punish the Karthus early if you're able to find him out in his own jungle. Also, you have playmaking potential together with the Thresh, but it looks like it's going to be the Sin Cell lock-in, which is kind of saying that you want even more early game fighting power and you give up some of that late game pressure in the team fights with the engages.
Yeah, absolutely. Now a little bit of a problem for one of the players, I think, as the lobby has been reset. We're going to be right back with that in just a couple of minutes, and the players are just going to reset their bans, and rather not reset to go back with the exact same picks.
Yeah, it's going to be the same draft.
Yeah, exactly. The draft was already finished, so we've already seen everything, and so the players are just going to come back with that again. So let's talk about what we got. So, all right, so we just got word that one of the players had that problem, the bug that when you can't choose your runes. So that's why the players had to remake. They're just going to come back now, and then everything will be back to normal again.
Yeah, at first I didn't really understand what he was saying. I thought that they were saying something like with the old rune system, oh, he didn't make the rune pages before he went into the game, and now I just realized how nice it is that you don't have to do that. You can just fix the runes while you're in the lobby, but apparently you can't always do that.
Exactly, that is a common bug in League of Legends that Riot has not been able to fix for quite a while. It happens sometimes. Happened to me, actually, quite recently, and that's the only reason why I lose my ranked games.
Except that your team is holding you back.
Exactly, and my team is holding me back. It has nothing to do with me just being a
it's like
bad
when you're casting.
player. Oh, yeah, my co-caster is holding me back. Otherwise, I would have been pro right now. All right, but let's get back to these two teams because we talk a lot about these top laners, right? Stenbusa and Wacer. And now we're going to have the...
Kled into Urgot.
Kled into Urgot, exactly. And that matchup between these two, Wacer has gotten a real comfortable pick for him.
Yeah, he's known for his Kled. He played it earlier on at the tournament. It's been banned against him as well. He's really good on this champion. Not that strong in the current metagame, but if you're able to pilot it, you can make a lot of things happen. Can transition into being a very good split pusher, but unlike a lot of other like melee carries like a Tryndamere, Nasus, or these kind of picks, he can also be a great team fighter because of that charge, that ultimate. He has the ability to go in and get onto the enemy backline. Does not have to be a split pusher, but can be that if he wants to. He'd also be making some really interesting plays. Let's just call him that earlier on with a Kled when he's been like going for insane like base races where he's been taking inhibitors and then ulting back and then not really working out too well for him.
Yeah, absolutely. The kind of player that really wants to try for these crazy all-ins with kind of a 20% chance that you finish the game or like the 80% chance that you're gonna throw just a little bit. But they have been able to get this far with this team. They were able to get one match versus Ventus Esports, a team that has been arguably the strongest in the tournament. So definitely a very strong contender coming up in the second spot of the group stage. And now for the bot lane, we talked about the Kai'Sa versus the Ezreal Thresh and the Kai'Sa Galio situation down here.
Yeah, Galio and Kai'Sa will have a lot of pushing pressure. That's one of the things I like the most about Galio, how well you're able to push the wave with your Q and your passive. You can just kill those minions really quickly. Kai'Sa does that pretty well, especially if you go for that BF sword into double pickaxe, which evolves your Q, and then you're just able to have so much pushing pressure with a bonus damage to minions. So if that happens, if there is bottom lane prio, that means Galio can roam. And a roaming Galio is really hard to deal with because of that ultimate, meaning that he can help his jungler, help his mid laner, or even his top laner if he's able to go up to the top side of the map with a very long range. And that's just so much utility built into that ultimate.
Yeah, absolutely. Also like to see Denzel going with the Victor here because we have talked a lot about this mid lane matchup and just farming on this Victor, making sure that you stay safe until you can get your upgraded Hex core and then keep farming and then you will be playing these team fights with a really good team roster that they have with a good team composition versus Nyyrikki White will mean that this mid lane difference won't mean as much. The teams have been told us that they are playing to their strengths, being very aware of their weaknesses as well. So I expect these two teams to really play it slow and set up for things to happen.
Yeah, I talked a bit to the coach from the final try before this game, and he said that, yes, we know there's a mid lane mismatch. Yamero is a very strong player. Denzel is not quite as strong when it comes to those individual mechanics, but I think putting him on the Victor here is a good choice. I mean, you have his signature champions, the Malzahar and the Cillian, getting banned out, so he's just going to be on this pushing wave clearing champion. If he's able to get that 1150 gold before he gets his first recall off, he's going to be able to upgrade that E, that laser, and then he has so good wave control. It's also kind of hard to dive with all the burst damage and the W that he has. So I think if Denzel just clears the wave, and if Yamaru just clears the waves, that's something that TFT will be very happy with, just having a farm lane in mid.
Absolutely. And also this game one, it sets up for the rest of the series so well because Nyyrikki White have won before versus GFT, and the way that they won was that they abused the mid lane a lot. They got Jamero ahead on the Syndra that was banned for a reason for this series, for game one, and since Jamero on that game, he played the Syndra, he got so far ahead, he was able to just R and kill anything that he wanted. For this game, he's going to play the Corki, of course, also a very strong champion that definitely can turn team fights around quite easily, almost on his own, once he gets the crit, once he has the Trinity Force. But to get to that point, he needs to have a good mid lane, and they need to not fall behind as a team, something that TFT has been struggling with quite a bit in previous games.
Absolutely, and we just gotta mention the jungle picks once more. It's the Karthus that was first picked, and even devote 2 bans. They banned the Olaf and the Ivern, both good matchups, into the Karthus just to get him into a beneficial matchup on this really carry-heavy jungler. Gonna be very interesting to see what he can do early on up against the Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao was like the premier duelist in the game, so if he's ever able to get on the Karthus, it's gonna be a very bad time for him.
Absolutely.
So Nyyrikki just wants to farm. Oh, sorry. The final tribe just wants to farm up on this Karthus, get to level 6, and then make plays on the map. But I'm really interested to see what Nyyrikki can do to punish them before level 6.
Yeah, exactly. That's when they need to do that. And also, we have seen Raxi on the Karthus before, and we've seen Raxi play so well on the Karthus, really carrying the game on his own, becoming an unstoppable monster that just gets the Requiem and have the global pressure to like take anyone of half of their HP with one ability. For this game, he needs to play smart on this Karthus to be able to stay alive in the jungle, to not be denied by Canapeel.
And going into the later stages, looking at what these Team Comps wants to do after the laning phase, I really like what the final tribe has been cooking up here, because they've got Waysor, who's going to be off in a silent on this Kled. Really strong 1 versus 1 champion. Sure, Stenbosse might be able to go toe-to-toe and just clear the waves, but other than that, Wasor's going to be having a lot of pressure. And why do I like this team so much with the Kled? because they've got 2 globals. So they've got both the Karthus ultimate and the Galio ultimate to help out Waysor off in a side lane. So if they're able to get a Kled ahead, set him up to the bottom lane, perhaps when the Dragon is up, if he's ever able to fight Stenbosse, there's at least going to be a Requiem and maybe even a Hero's Entrance there to help Waysor in the side lane. So that's definitely a potential win condition for the final tribe if they're able to get Waysor ahead.
Absolutely, and also with Waysor on this Kled, to have this charge to be able to go in for the fights and have Nightmares follow that up with the heroic entry, that is also a lot of pressure for them to start these fights when they want them. The problem is that you have a very mobile Karthus, you have a very immobile Victor on your team, and you need to be very careful to get into fights that you do not want, because you don't have that many ways to disengage.
Yeah, that is also very true, and with engage that Nyyrikki actually has with the Sin-Out Thresh, it's not the easiest thing to happen, but if Tiara is able to find a key hook, able to get the Lantern in for Canapil, and then Stenbosse can go in with some follow-up, they can definitely catch these immobile carries like the Victor out of position. And we've talked a lot about Denzel, and he's definitely someone that can get caught out of position, especially without a cleanse here in this game. I mean, it wouldn't run cleanse into the Sin-Out Galio, but still going to be somewhat susceptible to that Thresh later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Cantos taking a few auto attacks from Tiara there with the Flay. Ace-Tor and Tiara has been a strong bot lane so far in this tournament, playing well with this Ezreal before. Cantos, on the other hand, also been one of the strongest points on his team. I would argue that him and Waysor and Raxi have definitely been able to do like split the games and carry like 1 or 2 games each. All really depending on each other. If one of them fall behind, another one can pick up the slack, and that is a difficult team to handle.
Oh, this is very aggressive invade here because it does not have bottom lane prio. TFT would be able to roam here quicker because it's just closer to that side of the map. So Cannibal just goes in, scares Rax a little bit, and then runs back into its own jungle, and already 2 camps behind in this matchup where you are the one having the early game pressure. I don't think Cannibal should be too happy with how Rax has been able to free farm, but on the other hand, it's not too much you can do when you don't have prio in any other lane but top.
Yeah, exactly. Cannibal tries to go for a cheeky invade, maybe hoping to catch Raxi off guard, and Rax, we talked about it, he knows exactly how to play this Karthus, and he knows that as long as he wards, as long as he sticks around waiting for his lanes and don't really try to do anything on his own, he's not going to have a problem securing these camps. And with the speed a Karthus can farm, it's no problem at all for him to be up 2 camps versus Canapil at this point.
Absolutely gonna be the case, and a really scary thought for the final tribe just struck me. You know how many Swedish teams there were in the finals of the first Nordic Championship? You remember? There were 2 Swedish teams actually.
Oh right, that was actually that's true.
Versus Atlantis.
No, it's true.
In the second Nordic Championship, how many Swedish teams were there? There were 1 Swedish team, NIP. Now, in the third Nordic Championships, the trend is not great.
No, exactly. We keep losing 1 team. That is worrisome for the final tribe. And now Nyyrikki moving in. The Death Sentence is not going to land on anything and might spell disaster for Tiara as he needs to run away from there immediately. Ace-Tor, though, still fighting it out versus Cantos and getting a few more auto attacks off before using the Lantern to back off.
You can see they have the push control here on the Kai'Sa Galio, and that is allowing Nightmares to go into the river. He's done this several times, going in to put wards into the enemy jungle to secure the Scrying Orb in the enemy jungle. They're trying to spot out where Canapil is. Right now they did not spot him on the bottom or top side of the map, but of course he had just recalled and picked up that Challenging Smite as well as the boots. Still, really taking advantage of this pushing bottom lane to get some extra vision and control on the bottom side of the map. Good play from the final tribe.
Yeah, absolutely. The final tribe controlling this. Making sure that Raxi can get his farm. He just wants to get to level 6 to unlock all of the magic penetration that he can as soon as possible. Have max impact with his Requiem. On the other hand, Canapil really would like to get something done on the map before that can happen, and he will be looking around mid lane to see if he can do anything.
Yeah, he knows he has a very strong mid laner here in Yamaru. And speaking of mid lane, not too big of a fan with Denzel here. I'm not sure what happened, but on Victor, you really want to be able to farm that 1150 gold before you recall, so you can upgrade that laser to get that free wave clear that you really know and love. But he's been forced to recall earlier, picked up 2 control wards and a Doran's ring. So he's not even close to getting that first upgraded skills, which means that wave clear is going to be a little bit slower, a little bit more difficult, and that's going to give Yamaru a little more pressure in the mid lane.
Well, considering that Yamaru had to use his teleport quite early, I would say that maybe Denzel actually managed to push him out of the lane and then decided to recall to not fall behind, so just make sure to opt to get that extra power spike from the extra power from the Doran's ring. But I'm not quite sure actually what happened there. I'm just seeing that Yamaru used his teleport early.
Yeah, that is a good point. They probably took a big engagement and then were forced to recall. Still gotta say that the item buys here really benefits the Corki. Picking up Cull here in a matchup that you know will be farming early on is really good, and then forcing the recalls to happen before Victor can upgrade one of his skills. That's just a nice situation for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Yamaru also being slightly up in EXP or having back to the mid lane, and now in this situation it will be difficult for Denzel to find a good recall timing without help from Raxi. Up top lane, Stenbuse is being pushed by Wazer, not to anyone's surprise really, with Wazer on this Kled. Still far, not that much happening on this map. A slight gold lead to Nyyrikki White, just coming out of this CS lead that they have. Actually, I'm not quite sure where they would have that lead now when I look at it again, as there's no really to talk about, but they have about 400 gold up.
Yeah, there's a Kleptomancer at
All
least,
right,
so that
that's
is
the Kleptomancer,
definitely something that is going to be beneficial for you. Still gotta say though for Nyyrikki that the jungle matchup is somewhat intriguing to me at the moment, because you know that the enemy team has a Karthus first pick. So you've got all the time in the world to prepare something that's going to be good into the Karthus. You let it go to the second tier, you actually save jungle for last pick, even though you know what the enemy jungler is going to be. The only two bans that go towards the jungler, Ivern and Olaf, which are good matchups into the Karthus, but still Kenapil can pick any champion he wants except these two. Oh, here we go with the bottom lane engage.
And Nightmares want this fight, focusing Tiara yet again, knowing that they have a stronger fighting position right now with Cantus on level 6 and with the Kaisa versus the Ezreal.
Yeah, so just to finish my train of thought there, Kenapil could pick pretty much any strong jungler that he wants. Some very strong picks like Lee Sin and Nocturne were still available for him should he wanted to go for them. Shows the Xin Zhao, whose real big advantage over those other champions that I mentioned is the early game dueling, and he's not been doing any early game dueling so far. So now with the level 6 unlocked, I really want to see him make some sort of a play.
Yeah, absolutely. We're waiting for that to happen. A play happening up top lane though. Wazer running away, making sure to hold on to Skarl for dear life. He has his ultimate, he has everything up, but Stenbuse at this point with the Ignite also unlocked is at a strong point on this Urgot.
And one potential strong point for Kenapil where he can make a play is around this dragon. Ocean, very strong early because it gives you more regeneration the lower you are in both HP and mana, and at least both this Corki and Ezreal are going to be very reliant on having that mana early. So an early Ocean Dragon, which it looks like it's going to be going over for free to Kenapil, that's definitely something that you want to be seeing if you're a Nyyrikki fan. And with the early game champion that is picked in the Xin Zhao, being able to secure an early Ocean Dragon is really the first big thing that he's been able to get here.
Nyyrikki did tell you before this game that they were prepared to play around this mid lane deficit that they realized that they have versus Yamaru, but they're doing it well. Here comes the fight down bot lane. True Shot Barrage has been used. Kenapil arriving. He was sticking around. Nightmares as well, taking some damage. And a fantastic ultimate by Kenapil is going to knock Nightmares back, intercepting that ability and making sure to pick up the kill.
Yeah, not sure he needed to flash there actually, but try to go for Kantos. Still forced out the Killer Instinct, which is quite a long cooldown for the Kaisa early, so able to make some plays happen on this Xin Zhao. I do like that. I'm pushing in the way, forcing a lot of minions to die to the tower. Isidore and Tiara should not have too strong of a matchup here. I mentioned how good Galio and Kaisa is when it comes to the pushing, but the kill potential was definitely there for Tiara's Thresh, and a good flash, we're able to make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Now with the Muramana and the Sheen, for AC Tour is just going to keep farming this up in the mid lane. Yamaru doing the same thing. It's 26 CS from unlocking the extra gold from the call, and just doing what he's supposed to on this Corki versus Denzel. And how this will work out for these two teams with the mid laners will be much more obvious in the later stages when the team fights are starting. For now, these two players are just happy farming it out.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be like the definition of a farm lane. Victor versus Corki, both really just want to scale both these champions, scale really well, and just want to make this lane just pushing, getting the minions. You've got the call, you've got the farming of Denzel. Now it's been picked up, the upgraded Hex Core, so we can get the upgrade on the laser. doing really well so far. And they're just going to be farming, so we better watch the side lanes, because mid lane, not going to be a lot of things happening.
Now, so far, most fights have been happening down bot lane. Up top side, also, we see the priority for the Kled pick is not because of the lane priority versus the Urgot, as Kled does not have the best lane here. It's behind a few CS, about 2 waves behind. But not to a big problem, I think. Wazer doesn't really care that much about this. We've seen him earlier fall behind on the Kled and looking instead for the bigger fights. Now Stenbussen might be caught out here. Charge is not going to hit him though, as Wazer must have misclicked that a little bit. Canapil arrives, so Wazer maybe didn't dare to go too far up. True Shot Barrage not going to hit anyone, but an attempt was made by TFT to make something happen. Stenbussen still wants to fight this out though up top side.
Yeah, it looked like Braxi really was waiting for Stenbussen to go in with that Urgot E to commit there, but Stenbussen is playing with a lot of patience, knowing that Braxi could potentially be on the top side, and you don't want to be giving this Karthus any sort of free gold or free experience this early on, because that can spell a lot of problems for you. Thinking more about the TFT composition, they are not in too much of a rush. They have a lot of great scaling on this team, and they've got a good split pushing composition. As I mentioned, the Kled with both the Requiem and the Hero's Entrance to support him in a potential side lane later on. So I don't think TFT really need to make anything happen. The ones who are playing on a clock really are Nyyrikki.
Yeah, absolutely. Nyyrikki needs to make more things happen for this game before Raxi can unlock all that latent power. Same, of course, goes for the Victor, as he has very strong scaling. Looking at this bot lane, just a little bit poking back and forth. You see Azitor and Tiara has been trying to fight from time to time. They have gotten that 1 kill before from the gank that Canapil was able to get, but apart from that, Canapil on this Xin Zhao has not been really that much of a threat on the map.
Yeah, did get the Ocean Dragon right now, and there is more than a 2k gold lead, almost a 3k gold lead actually for Nyyrikki, if my math is somewhat correct there. So they are still able to get somewhat of a big CS lead, both in the top lane and... Okay, it's actually just in the top lane, but they got a CS lead, but a gold lead from the bottom lane as well, with a Klepto from Azitor. So Nyyrikki, good early game here. Ocean Dragon is going to actually be quite big when it comes to the later stages as well, because they really got sort of a poke comp getting built up. So they are... I would be happy here if I was Nyyrikki.
Yeah, absolutely. Nyyrikki right now getting this kind of start that they wanted. They have the 1 kill, playing it fairly slowly. I would expect them to speed up a little bit once they unlock the core items for Jameru and Azitor.
Yeah, 2 item spikes are going to be big for both these champions.
In mid lane, Canapil forcing the flash from Denzel. Denzel gets out unscathed. Wazer up top lane, dueling a little bit with Stenbussen. Both of them missing their key skill shots. Just gonna back up and make sure they don't lose too much farm. And yet again, both of these teams just slowly testing the waters right now and seeing if there are anyone that will make a mistake of overcommit. Both of these teams have played against each other earlier. That best of 3, Nyyrikki was the one team to win.
And you can see as soon as the Mountain Dragon spawn, Canapil immediately starts it up, and this is just what Nyyrikki needs to do. You need to keep getting advantages, and these neutral objectives are a great way to get these advantages, because either what's happening right now is what's going to go down, the enemy team is going to give it over to you, and if they don't give it over to you, there's going to be a fight, and they really want to fight right now. So that's a good play for Nyyrikki. They don't need to be too desperate or anything, just having the pressure in the bottom and mid lane. Speaking of pressure though, there's the flash being forced from Azitor.
Yeah, Azitor venturing a little bit too far up in this lane. Wazer losing 1 versus 1 to Stenbussen, and he dies very quickly, losing Skarland instantly. Stenbussen moving forward, not even having to use flash either, so that is another advantage that he has in the top side.
I'm so impressed by Stenbussen on this Urgot, actually. I mean, Wazer is on his signature Kled pick. He even got the potential... Oh, got bottom lane though!
Oh, bottom lane, Azitor not having the flash up, and Candace tower diving him. Using his flash, not actually having to use his ultimate either, just staying under turret, picking up the kill. Azitor has his teleport though, but he is going to lose quite a bit of farm here.
You can see the core items are not completed for Kantos. This will give you the evolve on the Q, which is the reason that he's spiking so hard in power right now with BF Sword and double pickaxe. Kais is really strong at the moment. Azitor will be able to TP back with the Ezreal though, and he's actually going to go Triforce this game, which is not something you see that often.
No, not to see Triforce that off, but he has a lot of magic damage on the other team, not that much use of armor. Now coming in with a big fight package arriving. Nightmare's going golden, is going to save his life for a couple of seconds, but finally going down. There's a 4-man commitment in the bot lane from Nyyrikki White, getting the 1 kill off. Teleport was used on both sides from the top laners, and now pushing in towards the bot lane. This has been a slow game, so there are no turret plates here, and the wave clear from Rax is a little bit difficult to handle. They might be going for this tower dive, though.
He's insane!
Yeah, he moves forward using Ghost, now backing off, cleaning up this wave, and securing this turret, just forcing everyone from TFT to back up so they can have the pressure.
Wow, he's playing with so much confidence on this. Urgot goes in with a Ghost right there and forces the flash on Brax's Karthus and even allows them to go for this bottom lane tower. So he's impressing me so much on this Urgot. He gets, like, Wazer gets the chance to counter pick and pick pretty much any top laner that he wants. Goes for his signature Kled pick, and Stianbosa still is so much CS ahead in the top side and just straight up killed him in the 1 versus 1. He's really looking like a key champion, or sorry, a key player for the team. Absolutely.
Ymir with a good flash, managing to get away from Nightmare. Nightmare gets the taunt on Kenapil, but no damage follow-up, and Kenapil's just going to walk away.
Ooh,
shot barrage.
Not quite enough.
No, not going to kill anyone, but hitting everyone means that they take a lot of damage. Need to be a little bit more careful when sticking around up for the top side. Those are a lot of minions that Wazer is losing right now.
Yeah, there's going to be dying to the tower, and this 4k gold lead that Nyyrikki has been able to get. It's just been gotten slowly through the call, through the dragons they've been taking, through the Kleptomancy, through denying minion waves to the tower and just getting ahead in the 1 versus 1s. So I'm impressed by Nyyrikki. They have not done any particular thing like extremely well. They've just been playing slightly better than the final tribe in almost every aspect of the game so far. But we have to also remember that they have a team comp that spikes earlier on.
Yeah, absolutely, and they need to be a little bit careful moving forward right now. As Nyyrikki has gotten the lead, but like you said, the enemy team also can definitely scale up, can definitely turn this around. TFT are absolutely still in this game, although Nyyrikki is edging ahead. About 1k gold at a time, 1 team fight at a time. I think a lot of this is because of Stianbosa in the top side. Handling Wazer, making him fall behind, means Wazer can't really do anything on this Kled. He can't roam, he can't really use his ultimate that well, and if he sticks around versus Stianbosa, we have seen that Urgot versus Kled can spell disaster for the Kled player.
And I would love to see Raxi right now, how many of those Dark Harvest stacks that he's been able to pick up, because I think he's... Oh, we might not have time for that.
Yeah, Azitor has been caught out and still not taking enough damage for Kantos to want to use his ultimate to chase him down. Rift Herald has been secured by Kenapil. Kenapil doing a really good job securing these objectives. As he knows, Raxi wants to farm, and Kenapil simply just responding by picking up objectives. Now they find Raxi in the jungle. Heroic entry will land to try to save him, but 2-shot barrage will be there, not even needed. Gonna finish the job, and Requiem not going to find anyone really. TR actually, just to be certain, going golden, but maybe sticking around for too long. Azitor moving forward, about to get stoned, and sticking around in the gravity field for too long means that he goes down. He did have flash throughout all of that, so Azitor not with the best decision to move forward, still managed to save the life of Tiara.
Yeah, first really big mistake there for Nyyrikki so far in this game. Azitor going really confident right there, but they still got the mid lane tower, and they're gonna get a second Ocean Dragon here. Nyyrikki just taking all the objectives on the map.
Yeah, a slight mistake, but before that was a really good fight that they had, picking up 2 kills, having the double Trinity Force unlocked right now with a well-fed Urgot and a stronger early game jungler, means that they can go for any fight that they want right now.
So what I was going to mention about Raxi before Nightmares went for that crazy engage up in the top side is that that was the first time he's used his Requiem. 19 minutes has gone on the clock before he uses that one time. I believe he has 1 Dark Harvest stack, if I've been counting correctly. That is not the position you want to be in this Karthus pick in the jungle, then I mean, when you're first picking it, when you're devoting 2 bans into getting this Karthus in a beneficial matchup, you really need to get more out of it than a single ultimate up at 20 minutes. Azador, oh,
Azador, no, he's moving forward. He needs to flash out, but he's a 1 versus 3, and no Lantern in the world can save him. For some reason, he used his Arcane Shift, thought that he was safe, and he was not.
Well, that's one of those solo queue plays when you're like, I'm not supposed to do this, but I'll probably get away with it, so I'm still gonna do it. Like Arcane shifting forward right there, and he did not get away with it.
No, absolutely not. Those are 2 mistakes in a row right now by the marksman of Nyyrikki White, and we'll see what TFT can pick up from on top of this.
Yeah, not too much as it looks right now. The only objective that's on the map is really the Baron, and yeah, well, they've got a great Baron taking team with Karthus and Kai'Sa. You're not going to be wanting to start that when you're this far behind at 21 minutes. So just farming up, you're going to be pretty happy with that. Wazer is starting to get into sort of a position where he can sort of go toe-to-toe with Stiambusa, but he's just been getting too far ahead on this Urgot, been able to make the plays happen. So it's going to be hard for Wazer. One of the win conditions for their team is his split pushing on the Kled, but right now they're not even sending him to the split push. They're going with Denzel bottom lane without the TP instead. So this means they don't have pressure on the Baron up against the Corki Ezreal Xin team with a Mountain Dragon. That's a bit scary for the final tribe having Denzel down there.
Yeah, absolutely. What worries me, though, that Azador keeps getting caught like this, it's slowing down their power spike. They have the power spike, they want to use it to the best of their interest, and it's difficult to do right when people get caught. And they're still playing versus this Karthus and this Victor that late game will be able to delete people off the face of the earth. And of course, I mean, Kai'Sa isn't that bad for the late game or early or late mid game or early late game either. So they really need to make most of this and not fall behind, because Kenapil on the Xin Zhao is not going to be as strong as the Karthus when the game progresses.
Yeah, it might sound weird when we're talking about the Ezreal and Corki getting outscaled because they're so good late game champions, and it's not like they're not good in the late game. I just don't think they match up too well up against the Karthus and the Victor, because you've got 2 of the heaviest burst mages in the game up against 2 great damage dealing marksmen. Well, marksmen don't deal that well with huge amounts of burst magic damage, and they've also got Wazer on a Kled who's able to split push with the support of the Requiem and the Hero's Entrance. So that's why I think that the Final Tribe outscales. It's not by a ton, but still by a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So Nyyrikki White here is pushing up. They're trying to get the most out of this. They got the 2 core items unlocked on Jamero, and now gonna look for the 3rd item. Should be the rapid fire cannon on this Corki. Azador has finished up his first tier stack. He's now going for the 2nd. And like you said, definitely going to be strong for the late game. Corki is absolutely a lot of power, but he's really short range. I think he has the shortest or the 2nd shortest range of any marksman in the game, I think.
Not entirely sure on that one. But
I think he
sounds reasonable.
I think like maybe something like Vayne or Quinn could have shorter range than him, something like that. But he needs to be careful. Like 1 burst from Denzel just pointing R at him, or Wazer managing to jump onto him, would mean that that's just Requiem gonna follow up and finish the job. And oh, Kenapil wanted to go for it, or not sure if that was a misclick or if he actually wanted to go for it, but he decided not to. Backing up, waiting for Azador to arrive and to help him. But they are pushing in now, and I like the way that Nyyrikki are trying to get a little bit more vision down inside of enemy jungle.
These are some good power spikes coming in for Nyyrikki. You mentioned the Muramana being completed for Azador with the Triforce, and the Triforce Infinity Edge for Corki as well. So this is a good set of power spikes for them. They can definitely start to look for a fight. And I'm a bit surprised that they've not been setting up more around the Baron. You've got a pretty good Baron killing team. You're 25 minutes in. You've got the Mountain Dragon as well. Still, they're going to be looking for a 2nd Mountain Dragon spawning in about 10 seconds, which is just going to be given over for free from the Final Tribe. But I really want to see Nyyrikki start pressuring the Baron after they pick up the 2nd Mountain.
Absolutely, they definitely could be doing it. Also, haven't seen that many plays around Tiara. We talked about it earlier, that maybe Kenapil can start a fight if he's really good at finding those flanks, or Tiara could go for a death sentence, but otherwise there aren't really any ways for this team to start up a fight. But on the other hand, here's a team who wants to start a fight, and they are going for it. Everything focused down on Stiambusa. He's the first one to go, but can they still turn this around? They are going for it. Canapil having to flash away, but everyone losing a lot of HP on this side of TFT. Dragon still being the main focus. Acitor on healthy HP. Denzel about half. It's up to Kanjo still. He's in a healthy position, and Acitor managed to snipe Raxi. Raxi, is he going to use Requiem, though? Looks like he is, and though he uses it. No, he's not. Well, he actually did use it. Yeah, he did use it just to go for it. I didn't see if anyone was low enough, but no, they weren't. Absolutely not. Dragon's still going. Raxi just using his ultimate, like kind of the rage card. And just, if I die, I'm just gonna press R anyways to do what I can. But I'm not quite sure why they wanted that fight.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna mention that. I'm not sure that's a fight that you want to take right now, because your Victor has not really been hitting any sort of special power spike. Your Karthus is kind of behind. I mean, when you're not even sure if he's ulted or not by looking at the health bars, then you know your Karthus is not doing too well. So not sure that's a fight you wanted to take. Still got a pretty good engage with a charge there. Don't think Stian was expected to be hit, but still got caught out before the fight started. He is quite tanky on the Urgot though, which you could see right there. So in the end, Nyyrikki sort of gets away on top with that fight. And now I mentioned it, you've got the double Mountain Dragon. I want to see them start to pressure the Baron, or at least deny the vision, and start to threaten this for the final tribe.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the objective I am looking for. I would expect them to set down a couple of more wards, as the ward cover around Baron is actually slightly more beneficial for TFT. So I would expect Nyyrikki to just set this up, to sit around these bushes and wait for the enemy team to arrive. Canapil is going to start this, is going to back off as soon as his Scrying Orb lands. That has a long cooldown, so it'll be a while before that one is up again. They're going to back off for now. I'm sort of just wanting Nyyrikki to sit down in one of these bushes and let Tiara be the one to catch someone, because anyone really that gets caught by a death sentence should be fair game for Nyyrikki White to kill. Shouldn't be that much of a problem for them.
Yeah, they've got a lot of scary skill shots when they are sitting around this Baron. If the final tribe walks up, there is Ezreal Qs, there is Corki Rockets, and there is specifically the hook there, which is going to be very hard and scary to deal with, since there's quite a squishy lineup for the final tribe. We've got the Galio and kind of the Kled, which can frontline, but other than that, if anyone else gets caught out just by a couple of Ezreal Qs, they're going to be shunked to half HP and have a really hard time.
I gotta say, Stenbusa has traded his teleport though. Denzel about to be caught. Gets some damage off. Flash forward. Jamari is going to catch Denzel, and now the team fight has started. Off with this is Acitor to be the second one to go. Waster on a killing spree, managed to do that, but Tiara is the second one to fall as well. What started as a good fight, now turning around to become a disaster, as Canapil is killed by the third Requiem of the game. Jamaru was the one who tower dived top lane. He got the kill there on Denzel. They managed to pick off Raxi, but they lost Acitor, Tiara, and Canapil, as Stenboss didn't have a teleport to be able to help his team.
Yeah, such a good roam there from Waster. Stenboss did not realize that he was gone on this Kled, and with a charge, you were able to find the engages. Still, turns out better for Nyyrikki than I expected. Actually able to pick up 2 kills while only losing 3 for yourself. So when you got the bottom lane tower as well, and this is going to be the flank for Stenboss, he's going for this.
Yeah, Stenboss wants this. I think he wants to use his exhaust also as well. Will chase down Kantos. They go for it, and the ultimate will finish the job. Nothing really that you can do as a Galio to stop it. Those are the 2 quick pickups, and Baron is up. Acitor teleporting in.
There's nothing they can do. The final tribe are so far out of position. Waster's got the TP, but both Denzel and Raxi are in the base. This is going to be a free Baron for Nyyrikki, and they just went from having a small lead to a big one.
I don't think that Nyyrikki expected to get that much out of it. They sort of just walking up with Stenbusa and getting everything on top of it. And Nightmare's also trying to save counters in that situation, going back in again, really allowed for that situation to spiral out of control.
Yeah, the catch on to Kantos there was really impressive from Stenbossa, and then the hero's entrance just proved to be a death sentence there for Nightmares, as it comes in and just gets feared immediately by Stenbossa. Yes, you're naturally tanky on this Galio, but you frankly don't care when you're there with an Ezreal and a Corki. Yamaru is level 17 right now and has been picking up a rapid fire cannon, the highest level in the game, together with Stenbossa. These 2 solo laners for Nyyrikki are just carrying the game for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Nyyrikki having so much damage. Now the focus focused on Tiara. Nightmare's moving in, getting the taunt off, but not on priority targets. Everyone just simply happy to auto-attack him to death, and he is going down again as soon as he respawns, not even having his ultimate to use in that situation together with Wazer. And now Nyyrikki White are pushing forward. Death Sentence not going to hit anything. Yamaru still Valkyrieing forward, getting the turret and getting everything that they want with this Baron buff.
Why are you fighting the final tribe? You've got all the tools you need to just hug your towers. You've got the great wave clear from Victor and Karthus. There's no reason to go for these fights when you're far behind, when the enemy's got the Baron buff. I'm not sure if they thought that they could catch and burst down Tiara maybe before the fight started, but even if you do that, I think you'll lose 4v5 because you're so far behind. That was a very questionable decision to go for that engage.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. It was a really strange situation when you want to start a fight. And Cell using his ultimate, trying to stop Acer a little bit, but here comes Acer again, trying to get the flank, not being able to find it yet again. Not even having his ultimate this time around. No one dies, but he has to back up. Stimble's down bot lane, going for this turret. Here comes another taunt by Nightmare, but Cantos is out of the fight. He's down half HP already. Turret still goes. Cannibal flashing forward. He finds Cantos. Cantos goes down. Wazer has arrived yet again, going into the fray, but with nothing here to help him. He simply goes down instantly. Everyone surrounding him right now, and the Death Sentence also lands on Raxi. Raxi is not able to do anything, but it's game. Denzel trying to hold on with this. The Requiem, though, will this be enough? It's going to finish off one at least, not even enough, but the Q will finish the job. And here comes Kenapil yet again onto Denzel. The next focus is the Nexus, that is the game. Game 1 over to Nyyrikki White.
Wow, they were able to take command of that game early on, and the snowball just kept rolling and rolling and rolling, and in the end, I'd say the solo laners won that game for them. Yamaru and Stenboss are both playing really well and also abusing the mistakes of the final tribe because they made some questionable decisions.
Absolutely, but I gotta say that the final tribe, yes, they made questionable decisions, but to be in that situation where Nyyrikki White kind of mentally forcing them to make those mistakes is that TFT realizing they're falling behind in every single way. And they're kind of just making this desperation move, feeling like we have to go for something, otherwise this game's just going to get stalled out and we are going to lose anyways. They realize that they're not in a position where they will be able to hold on and wait to outscale or do anything with their team composition that their opponents can't do better. So they go in, they go for the big play, and then from that point when they realize it falters, it's kind of like the entire team just says that, okay, we're just gonna lose this quickly and move on to next game, because the follow-up engages, they were just weird, really.
Yeah, they were going for the Kled engages, but they were so far behind. There's no way you're going to be able to pull that off. Even if you catch out someone on the enemy team, you're going to be losing 4v5, and gotta say that putting the Kled behind early on, Stenboss played really well, Yamaru played really well.
Absolutely.
Gotta give a highlight for TFT, I think, was Denzel. We did not think that he was going to be able to make too much happen in this mid lane matchup, but he just went even in lane early on, and that, I think TFT are very happy with that. Denzel played this quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. Denzel did what he was supposed to do. The problem is that for the entire team, they were falling behind. Yeah. Everywhere, really. So no real player to look at and say, like, this was the main player that fell behind, and this is the big problem. But as a team, Nyyrikki White just, well, they got every objective. They handled the map, and if they can play like this in Game 2, it should be another win for them.
Yeah, Canapeo played really well in the early game. They're just able to get some leads in both of the side lanes and snowball it with the Sin Sao. So I'm looking forward to see what the final tribe are going to be trying to do to bounce back in Game 2.
Absolutely, and it's up to them to try to bounce back from this Game 1. And we will see what happens when we're back in a couple of minutes.